You know what's wild? There's someone at your job who makes the whole office uncomfortable and somehow nobody ever does anything about it. Not HR, not your manager, not anyone. And if you've ever tried to explain what they're doing to someone outside of work, you already know how that conversation goes. Are you sure? Maybe they're just stressed. Maybe you're reading too much into it. So you drop it. You go back to work, and they keep going. Here's what Zara wants you to understand today. The reason these people are so hard to stop is not because they're powerful. It's because they've learned something most people haven't. They know exactly how far they can push before it becomes undeniable. They know how to make you look unstable for even bringing it up. And they know that as long as nobody names what they're actually doing, they can keep doing it indefinitely. Today, we're naming it. What's up, everyone? My name is Zara, and welcome back to the channel where we talk about the things that are actually happening at work, not the version on the motivational poster in the break room. Today we're getting into the specific moves toxic coworkers use to maintain control, why those moves work so well, and exactly what shuts them down. Stay with me because this one is going to be uncomfortable in the best possible way. And if you're new here, hit subscribe right now. We do this every week. Hit the bell too so you don't miss what's coming. Let's get into it. Before we get into the moves, Zara needs you to understand why these people are so difficult to address. Because it's not just that they're unpleasant, it's the specific way they operate that makes them almost impossible to pin down. Think about a car alarm going off in a parking lot. You hear it. Everyone hears it. The problem is obvious, and the source is right there. Easy to locate, easy to address. Now imagine that same alarm, except it only goes off when you're the only one in the parking lot. The moment anyone else walks in, silence. Then the second they leave, alarm again. And every time you try to explain to someone what's been happening, they look at the car. They hear nothing. They look at you. That is the design. That is the point. Toxic coworkers at the organizational level are not careless. The best ones are precise. They know who is watching and who isn't. They know which behaviors will get flagged and which ones will get absorbed. And they've built enough goodwill in the visible spaces that when you finally do say something, the room is already tilted against you before you open your mouth. That's what makes this hard. It's not the behavior itself, it's the architecture around the behavior. Now let's look at the playbook. Move number 1. They built the trust first. This is where it always starts. Before anything else happened, before you noticed anything was wrong, they were warm, genuinely, disarmingly warm. They remembered things about you. They checked in. They said all the right things at all the right moments. That warmth was not accidental. It was an investment. Because the closer you got, the more access they had to your frustrations, your insecurities, your read on the political landscape of the office. The things you said in confidence that you would never say in a meeting. Every piece of information you gave them, they stored. And then, at some point when you set a boundary, when you stopped being useful, when something shifted between you, the warmth evaporated, almost overnight. And suddenly you found yourself confused, replaying conversations, trying to figure out what you did wrong, which is exactly what you were supposed to be doing, because while you were looking backward trying to fix the relationship, they had already moved forward. 3 signs this is what happened. The closeness came faster than it normally would with a colleague. The things they knew about you were things you only shared during that early warmth period. And when the shift happened, it felt like a punishment, not a natural drift. They didn't get close because they liked you. They got close because close means access, and access means leverage. Move number 2. They move in small, deniable increments. This is the operational core of how it works. Not one big moment, not a scene, not anything you can point to cleanly in an email to HR. Instead, 100 small moments that individually mean nothing. The eye roll that was just fast enough that only you caught it. The message they replied to for everyone else but left on read from you. The idea you raised in a meeting that got acknowledged with a nod and then 3 days later attributed to someone else, casually, as if the history didn't exist. The comment was delivered just quietly enough that you couldn't tell if it was intentional. None of these is an incident. All of them are a pattern. And the reason this is so effective is that the pattern only lives in your memory, which means the moment you raise it, you sound paranoid. You can hear yourself. You're listing small things, you're counting eye rolls, You know how it sounds. 3 signs. This is the mechanism. The things you're noticing are happening in spaces without witnesses. Each individual moment seems too small to report. And you've started second-guessing your own memory of events. The incremental approach is not sloppy. It is the strategy. Each small move is designed to be individually dismissible while building something that is collectively crushing. Move number 3. They control the narrative before you can. By the time you realize something is wrong, they have already had conversations you were not invited to. They've planted seeds, not accusations, not anything direct, just small observations. I've noticed they seem really stressed lately. I don't know, something feels off with them. I'm not saying anything, I'm just a little concerned. None of that sounds like an attack. It sounds like a concern. And concern, delivered first by someone people already trust, becomes the frame through which everything you do next gets interpreted. If you stay quiet, it confirms something is wrong with you. If you push back, it confirms you're unstable. Psychologists call this narrative preemption. You get defined before you can define yourself. 3 signs this has already happened. People are being slightly more careful with you than usual, but nobody has said why. You've sensed a shift in how you're being received in rooms without understanding what changed. And when you did try to raise concerns, the response felt like people had already heard another version. Once someone else has told your story, you're no longer introducing yourself. You're correcting a record that most people have already accepted. Move number 4. The moment you resist, you become the problem. This is the final protection mechanism and the most sophisticated one, because everything up to this point has been offensive. This one is defensive. The moment Zara or anyone starts pulling back, setting limits, correcting the record, or simply becoming less available, the dynamic inverts. Suddenly, you are the one who changed. You are the one who is difficult. You are the one who made things uncomfortable. And because they have spent months or years building goodwill with everyone around you, their version of events has a much softer landing than yours ever will. They sigh. They say they don't know what happened. They might even cry. They say they've done nothing but try. And the people around them, the ones who have only seen the Monday cookies and the birthday messages and the saved seats, believe it. Why wouldn't they? 3 signs you're in this phase. Your attempts to protect yourself are being interpreted as aggression. The people you thought were neutral have started to feel slightly cooler. And the harder you try to explain, the worse it seems to get. This is not because you did anything wrong. This is what happens when someone who has spent months building a story suddenly needs that story to protect them. Here's what actually shuts it down. Most people make one of 2 mistakes. They confront directly and loudly, which gives the other person exactly the dramatic proof they need. Or they go quiet and absorb it, which the other person interprets as permission to continue. Zara says do neither. Here is what actually works. Turn the information off. Stop feeding the machine. Every personal detail, every frustration, every confidence that is fuel. You do not need to be cold. You just need to become less interesting. Short answers, warm tone, nothing they can use. Turn your cards face down. Build a paper trail without announcing it. After any important conversation or meeting, send a brief professional follow-up. Just confirming what we discussed, I'll be moving forward with X. Time-stamped, on record. Not as an accusation, as documentation. Let the trail do the work quietly. Expand your circle deliberately. They have been counting on you being isolated. Reverse it. Not to campaign, not to build a case. Just to make sure your reputation exists in more places than the one they're managing. Have lunch with other people. Collaborate across teams. Be visible in rooms they don't control. Make your contributions visible before they get reassigned. Copy the right people. Present your own work. Speak up at the moment, not to perform to be on record. Visibility is protection. And manage your reactions on purpose. Their fuel is your response. When you feel the trigger, pause. Ask yourself what specifically just happened, what it is making you feel, and whether you want to hand them the remote control. You don't have to pretend it doesn't affect you. You just have to choose what you do with it. One hard truth before Zara lets you go. Sometimes the system protects them. Sometimes management knows something is happening and decides the disruption of addressing it is not worth it. If you do everything right, you document, you expand your network, you stay measured, you make your work visible and it still doesn't change, you are not failing. You are operating correctly inside a system that has decided to absorb this person rather than address them. In that case, winning is not fixing the situation. Winning is building enough options that you don't have to stay in it. Toxic coworkers lose their power over you the moment you stop needing the specific environment they control. That's the move they never see coming. Not a confrontation, not a complaint, just a quiet, deliberate expansion of your world until theirs is no longer the only one available to you. They've been doing this long before they met you. They're good at it, but they have one weakness. The whole system depends on you not understanding how it works. Now you do. If this one hits close to home, don't leave without subscribing. Zara versus the workplace exists because this is the conversation nobody has with you until the damage is already done. Hit subscribe so you get it before that. And if you're watching this and someone specific came to mind, share it with them today, not later today. Drop a comment below. Which move did you recognize most? The fast warmth at the beginning, the small deniable moments, the narrative they built before you could, or the flip where you became the problem? Tell me which one landed. I read every single one. See you in the next one.